Welcome back to Ion Harness Racing. We've shipped from our winter quarters and looking forward to following the stars of harness racing with you throughout 2010. Let's get right to it. The Dexter Cup is traditionally the first major stop along the road to the Hambletonian, and it matched 8 3-year-olds, 3 of them from the stable of trainer Ray Schnitker. In the stretch, it was 2 of Schnitker's stars, Flex the Muscle and Shack is Back, who battled for the winner's share.
Here comes Flex the Muscle with a vengeance on the outside. Shack Flex the Muscle on the outside is going to overtake him. Flex the Muscle is a Dexter Cup champion.
The horse raced very well. He got a great trip. He got a 2-hole trip. I never had to move till the head of the stretch, and he felt very strong the whole mile, and he went very easy.
Just a good horse. He's good on a half, good to drive, can leave like a runner, can come from behind. He's not the same. I think he's a 5 through 10 type horse, but you never know. I mean, he's just started back and he's undefeated. So.
On the pacing side, the Berries Creek is the first major test for 3-year-old pacers each year, and its final offered a $220,000 purse. After a quarter pole move to the lead, Rock and Roll Heaven and driver Daniel Dubé were never headed.
Roll Heaven and Dubé is home free in the Berries Creek. Rock and Roll Heaven.
In news from around the sport, the U.S. Trotting Association announced this week that it has invited all of America to the harness races on August 14th and 15th. It's called Back to the Track, and every participating racetrack will offer special incentives for people to come to the races. Details will be announced soon online at the Back to the Track website, and we want you to attend and bring some friends with you for what should be a great day at the races. As they say, stay tuned. In Illinois, lawmakers are still considering a bill that would permit the installation of slot machines at the state's racetracks. The bill has reportedly enough support to pass both houses, but the leadership has yet to bring the measure to the floor. Despite hard work by the tracks and the horsemen in Illinois, it may make it to a vote later this month. In New Jersey, the SBOA of New Jersey is among those supporting a plan to bring a racino to the Meadowlands. Breeder Mike Galata recently wrote an op-ed piece in one of the state's biggest newspapers, and radio spots in favor of the plan are airing throughout the state. The plan faces opposition from the Atlantic City casinos, but like all states, New Jersey needs a way to keep revenues flowing and create more jobs. I would like to welcome Trackmaster back to Ion Harness Racing this year. Each week we'll look at some numbers from the Trackmaster folks. This week we're going to look at some of the Trackmaster speed ratings for the trotters they expect to be among the best in the business in 2010, compared to the USTA's experimental ratings as assigned by Stan Bergstein. The Trackmaster speed ratings predict Pilgrim's Taj at 93.59 will be the best, while Stan said Il Villaggio would be fastest at 151. Il Villaggio, however, is injured and out of the picture, so we've given you a side-by-side look at the 2 lists of those who are still on track. Of course, ratings are different from experimentals, and these colts and fillies will have plenty of opportunity to settle things out on the racetrack. Trackmaster ratings will be updated throughout the year. At Trackmaster, it's all about winning. Powerful handicapping products built on official USTA data help you be the best horse player you can be. And free services such as StatsMaster and the Virtual Stable also put the odds in your favor. The winning starts at TrackMaster.com.
It's Lucky Jim starting to edge away.
Lucky Jim looked very sharp this past Friday in winning the Cutler Memorial Prep at the Meadowlands as an odds-on favorite for driver Andy Miller. The reigning trotting horse of the year will no doubt be favored in Saturday's Cutler Memorial Final. Earlier this week, our Ken Weingartner caught up with Andy Miller to talk about the talented trotter.
You know, it's always tough to duplicate a year like that, but I think he's living up to it pretty good, and you know, he takes a lot of the pressure off because he is a good horse.
By the way, you are going to the Elite Lopet with Lucky Jim and Julie and Andy Miller. Julie will take one of our flip cameras with her to record her experiences in Sweden, and you will see it on our YouTube channel following the May 31st Classic. Normally, the Oslo Grand Prix, despite being a European Grand Circuit race, would be under the radar in America, but not this year. Lou Guida's Lisa America, trained by expat Jerry Reardon, who teamed with Guida during Mac LaBelle's great campaigns, has drawn the rail. Trainer John Bax will have Define the World and driver Paul McDonnell using the Oslo Grand Prix as their stepping stone to the Elite Lopet. And enough talk, the fastest trotter of all time, who also has designs on the Elite Lumpet, drew post 10 for driver Luc Ouellette in the Oslo Grand Prix. Of course, the USTA's web newsroom will feature complete coverage of the Oslo Grand Prix and the Elite Lope in reports written by our European correspondent, Karsten Bonsdorf. Finally, another brain teaser will cap our first show of the season. These quizzes, as you have told us, are among your favorite features each week. Let's start the season with an easy one. Jody Jamieson, who tied with Dave Pallone as Harness Tracks of America's Drivers of the Year in 2009, became the first Canadian-based driver to win the honor in its 42 years. In the first 23 years of the award, a total of 21 of the 24 winners was Canadian-born. But in this century, prior to last year, there has been only one Canadian-born driver to win it all. In 2001, who was he? Send an email with your name, mailing address, and your answer to the question to i@ustrotting.com. Send only one entry per household, and it must arrive prior to midnight this coming Tuesday. We'll pick the winner at random from among the correct entries. Our prize this week is a copy of the 2010 Trotting and Pacing Guide, where you can find the answer to this week's question. Speaking of emails, we'd love to hear from you. Send your comments and questions to i@ustrotting.com. Before we leave, I want to remind you, listen to our audio podcast with Kate and Paul. It airs each week. Visit ustrotting.com and click on Media to hear the latest episode. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next Friday with another edition of Eye on Harness Racing.